All right. So let me share the sound as well, and let me hope that I get the. Let me just change these project settings, or actually preferences. Maybe I'll be able to share sound with y'all. I'll put hardware and before we get started. Okay, speakers. No, let's do the hands-free. Okay, maybe you'll be able to hear this, maybe not. Time will tell. Okay, so I imported this zebra PNG, okay, this thing right here. And I imported because it has the 4 legs. Actually, this might not be the right zebra. Let me see if I can find a better one that I had. Maybe in, oh, let's try this one. Yeah, I like this zebra better because it actually says zebra. Okay, so this zebra, you can grab any animal PNG or just a character PNG that has legs kind of in a profile. And what I'm going to do with this right off the bat is I'm just going to drag and drop it in a composition window right there. All right. So it made a composition out of the zebra settings, which is 1920, 1080, which might be too big, but we can shrink it down later. And you can see I still have mine at 12 frames per second because the last project we did was also at 12 frames per second. So it's going to use that. And I think that'll be okay because, I'm going to try to make something that's like an animation or a cell animation. So what I want to do is right off the bat, I'm going to go up here to this pin icon, okay? And again, last week we used the Puppet Advanced Pin tool. We're just going to use the first one today, the Puppet Position Pin tool. All right. So right off the bat, if I create a pin, let's say I create one around the neck, you can see there's mesh. All right. And if I expand that mesh from 2, then you're going to see that that mesh grows outside of the boundary of the animal. All right. So whatever that mesh encompasses is going to be affected by the pin, the movement of the pin. So let me actually undo that. 2 was actually good. And density is how intricate this polygon mesh is. Okay. So the higher the density, basically, the more flexible things will be. Like if I went 99 or if I went higher, but then keep in mind, it will take more computing power as well. The more points and lines you have, the harder it'll be on your computer. Anyway, I'm just going to keep it at 2 and 12. All right. And I drew a pin at the head. And you can see in the zebra layer under mesh and under deform, puppet pin 1, you'll see there is indeed a keyframe there, okay? Because it creates a keyframe by default when you select it. So I'm going to keep it at 0. I'm going to create one at the base of the neck as well, and then I'll draw one at the hips. Now, the reason why I'm drawing these is to just use them as anchors so that there's some information to lock down. What I really want to make are joints for the legs, though, to make this thing walk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a joint at the shoulder, a joint at the knee, and then a joint at the ankle, okay? So these 3 things I'm actually going to manipulate. So why don't I just finish that off with the other legs, and we will take it from there. Okay, so obviously there's going to be what? 12 points that I'm actually going to animate here. All right, these first 1, 2, and 3 probably won't need to animate. So what I might do is on pin 1, 2, and 3, I might just delete those keyframes, not the pin itself. Okay, I'll just turn off the keyframes. And then I can select the layer and press the letter U as umbrella so that I only get the keyframes. And since I took off the keyframes of 1, 2, and 3, I'm only getting the legs here. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to actually make some, I want to create the position of these pins to basically be in a stepping position. So that means this first one, I'm going to drag the heel or the ankle, and I'm going to extend it as if, and the knee, as if the zebra is taking a forward step. Okay, so there's basically 4 parts to a walk cycle within animation or cell animation or any animation. There's a step, there's a drag, there's a heel, and there's a toe. All right, 4 things: step, drag, heel, toe. So what that is, let me just do that with all legs. When your step, this is when you're taking your longest stride, okay, and your heel makes contact with the floor. Now I'm only moving the heels and the knees. This would be like your forward lunge, okay? And then if I were to go forward, let's say about 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure I remember how to count to 4. Now I want to create this for a drag position. All right. So a drag basically means your foot is planted on the floor and then you're actually moving your body forward. Now, this is going to be kind of weird because we're not seeing the animal actually move forward, but we have to basically envision it. So when I drag, basically that means, well, this should be going this way. It should be crossing the line and the foot should be back here. Okay. So it should be crossing this axis of the shoulder. Because from basically these 2 keyframes, it should be stepping on the floor and then dragging its body forward. Get it? Okay, so this should take about 4 frames if you're doing 12 frames per second. Now, here comes another step, which is, actually, I shouldn't use that word step because that's actually part of the word. The next phase, which is heel, where you lift the heel off the ground, but the toe stays on the floor. Now, this is only going to happen 2 frames after this frame because the motion is a lot quicker. So I'm just going to go 2 frames forward to frame 6. And I'm going to grab the heel and just lift it slightly like that and bring the knee back to center line. Okay. Center line meaning consistent with the shoulder joints. And next, we're going to go 2 frames forward again to 8. And we're going to lift the toe off the ground now. Okay. So basically now the knee has to actually cross the axis, cross the shoulder, and the toe's got to come up even more. Now we're doing all these legs simultaneously. It would probably make a lot more sense if we did them one by one, but I'm challenging you all to envision what it's going to look like when we offset these a little bit. Okay, anyway, so now we got what? We got step, drag, heel, and toe, right? Step, drag, heel, toe. Now with this, what's going to happen? It's going to go back from toe back to step. All right. So what I can do is I'm actually going to copy all of these keyframes here. Actually, before I do that, I noticed that all the shoulder joints right here, these, I don't keyframe. So I'm just going to turn them off as well. All right. That's puppet pin 13 for me, which is this guy. I only have the first one, so I'm going to turn that off by clicking the stopwatch. I'm not going to delete it though. Very important. Number 10, number 7, and number 4. And this is purely so I don't have to see it in my timeline. And then I'm just going to highlight the layer again and press the letter U as an umbrella. So I just have less to look at. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all the first keyframes for those pins. All right, select them all blue. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, or Control C, Command C. And now I'm going to go to frame 12 or 1 second. And I'm going to go Edit, Paste, Control V, Command V. So now it should all come full circle. It goes step, drag, heel, toe, step. Okay. And if I were to say loop all of these, let me drag my work area to make it so that it loops. And we play that back. We would have the weirdest zebra in the history of zebrism. But I mean, maybe that's how they gallop. I don't know. I've never seen a zebra in real life. Maybe I should go to the San Diego Zoo. Anyway, what we need to do though, maybe some of you can already envision this, is we need to take either the left 2 legs or the right 2 legs, and we need to just offset them so they go in the opposite half order of the other legs, okay? What does that mean? Well, let's check it out. Okay, so I'm gonna find, say, these 2 left legs, right? These, I gotta find which numbers they are. They are, let's grab this one, it's number 9 and 8 and 9, okay. And then, which else are they? And then 14 and 15. No, not 14, 15. Oh yes, 14, 15. 8, 9, 14, and 15 are the 2 on the left side, okay? With those, what I wanna do is, let's see how I can explain this. Let's do it the simple way. And let's just say I'm gonna make 2 sets of these keyframes for these. So I know I go step, drag, heel, toe, step, and I'm just going to add another heel or drag, heel, toe. Okay, so I'm going to copy these, all right, Control C or Command C, and I'm going to go forward 4 frames, really important, 4 frames, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, just remember, I can know how to count. I'm going to paste them, okay. Of course, we never reached that far, but there's a reason why I'm going to do that. So let me go 8 and 9 as well and do the same thing. 8 and 9. Let me go ahead and copy the drag, heel, toe. And I will paste those as well. Okay, so the reason why I did that is I'm going to grab these now, the entire thing for 8 and 9. And I'm going to say, 6 frames into it, I need this to actually start at frame 0 so it can move in the opposite direction as far as timing. Now you can see that front leg is doing this, what it should be doing. But now let's do that for the back leg. I'm going to copy and paste this. And I'm going to say at frame 6, which is halfway for the 1 second, instead of starting at frame 6, this should start at frame 0. So it basically goes in the opposite direction now. And now it's starting to look a little more uniform as far as a walk is concerned. There's still some overlapping, which we got to fix, but that will bring us to our next tool. So here's what we can do now. You can see, let's say, right when those legs cross, the right hind leg and the front left leg, you can see that the right hind leg overlaps the front left leg, which isn't good. All right, no bueno. So what we got to do is I'm going to go back to the puppet pin, all right? I'm gonna add this puppet overlap pin tool, okay? And what that will do is if I select, say, this thing, which was the front hind leg, or front left leg, sorry. Let me undo that real quick. And now you can see I made all these blue marks. It's going to say, hey, this part of the leg takes precedence over other portions of the body. Okay, these blue marks right there. Okay, let's make a few more just to guarantee that that leg overlaps this because it takes precedence. All right, so that is the puppet overlap pin tool. Okay, so we should be good there. Let's zoom out a little and let's preview this. All right, that is a happy zebra. I think so. All right, so let's go ahead now and see what we can do to actually loop this. And we might add a few more features. Let's say we can add let's grab the Puppet Advanced Pin tool that we used last week. All right, let's put one by the head. And then let's, go halfway, and then let's maybe rotate this. And then let's go back to the 1 second mark and then make sure we copy the first keyframes and paste them there so it loops. So now our zebra is also going to mosey with the head a little bit. Okay. And we can add some more features, maybe wiggle the tail a little. But basically, we're using this 1 second to loop as many things as possible. And it's important that it comes back to one, or back to square one right there. Okay, so from here, what I want to do is I'm going to grab this layer here and I'm going to pre-compose it. And what that means is I'm going to take this layer and make a composition just out of this layer. All right. So I'm going to select it, go to layer, pre-compose, or shift control C or shift command C. And when I do that, you'll see that that layer, zebra PNG, is going to turn into a composition. Okay. And let me rename it. I'll name this one walk. And I'm going to choose move all attributes into the new composition, which means take all the effects you put on it, like the puppet, and move it in there as well. All right. Now you'll see that it's just this composition layer. And then we have another composition here. All right. It's like grouping, basically. Anyway, okay, so now that I've got that, what I want to do is I want to make this whole thing loop after the 1 second mark. So a few ways I can do that. I could just copy and paste all the keyframes going all the way to the end of 5 seconds. Obviously, that is the most obvious way to do it. What if I could write an expression to make it a little easier? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select layer time, enable time remap. One more time, layer time, enable time remapping. Okay. And what that does is it creates this time remap effect with a beginning keyframe and an end keyframe. So this is all the time from the timeline. So if I were to take these two and I would just squish them closer to each other, okay, let me just grab the last one. Time is going to speed up and then this thing is going to be super fast, okay? And if I were to extend them away from each other, it would create slow motion. But I actually don't want any of that right now. What I want to do is I'm going to go to 1 second mark. I'm going to create a manual keyframe, okay, right there. And I'm going to delete the last keyframe. So basically, I only have these 2 points of information now. And I'm going to Alt-click on the stopwatch. And I could type in loop out. Another way is in this section here with the expression language menu. I can go to property and I can choose one of these presets called loop out type cycle number keyframes. I'm not going to memorize what that is, but I know which one it is. And that is a expression to loop. So now, if I extended this entire thing, it would keep playing those 2 points of the keyframes on the time remap. So that's one way to do it. Another way would just be, keyframe, copy and paste the whole thing. But let's say I want to add like a shadow here. All right, I'm going to create a shape layer. Let's go layer, new shape layer. And the shape layer, I'm going to grab the polygon tool, make sure it's set on shape, not mask. And I'm going to draw, I'm not going to draw that. I'm going to get my ellipse tool, sorry. I'm going to draw a little shadow right there. And let me throw it underneath. Let's take the opacity way down as well. Now, with the scale of this thingy, let's say it starts like this. I'm going to keyframe that. I'm going to uncheck the uniform scale, right? And then halfway through at 6 seconds, I'm going to decrease the X value so it gets a little smaller. And then all the way at 1 second, I'm going to copy that first keyframe again, Command C, Command V, or Control, and paste it back. And now it should have this shadow going with it. And of course, I want to loop that as well. So what I could do is I could alt-click the keyframes. And another way to do this, you could just copy and paste this expression here, or you could just type out loop, capital O-U-T, out, and then the one with just a bracket right there, that also will create a loop out for you with keyframes. All right. So you might be asking, why choose the one that has all this crazy mathematical stuff in there when I could just type this one? You got to ask the computer that. I don't make these things. I just work here. So the few ways to do one thing, all right, as far as expressions are concerned, and all just types of coding and programming in general. And again, we're not going to be doing too much of this stuff, so rest assured, what you see now is probably going to be the extent of it. So anyway, we got this zebra walking, and it's going pretty well. So let's go ahead and let's try to get another zebra going. And with this next zebra, we're just going to make it talk a little bit. Okay, so a few ways we can do that, all right? Check this out. We have a zebra right here that says walk, right? And the zebra is indeed walking. What if we grabbed a zebra, or this comp right here that has everything, right? Zebra, and we just duplicated this thing by going to Control D or Command D or going edit duplicate, and you have this zebra 2 now. Let me double click that and open it, and we have zebra 2. Exact same thing, but we can change it. So I'm going to rename this one, press return or enter, and I'm going to call this talk. So inside of here, instead of using the walk pre-comp, let me just grab the PNG again and throw that in here. All right, and then I'm going to delete the walk for this one. And then also with my shadows here, there was some animation involved, which I should probably take the loop off. All right, I'll just keep it about, that big right there. And then I'm just going to take off all the keyframing and then click the loop and then delete that. So it's back at just being static. What I want to do is I want to take this option right here. I want to go to Effect. Let me highlight the zebra layer. And I believe it's under Distort. And I'm going to go CC Split. Okay, CC split. What I could do is I can grab this point A, okay, grab this thingy. I'm gonna click the edge of the mouth, and I'm gonna grab point B, and click right there. Now between point A and point B, if I take this slider and increase it, you can see the mouth will open a little bit. Okay, so this is one way to make some characters talk real easily. So I'm gonna say it goes maybe starting here, keyframe that, and then maybe there it says opens, and then there it closes. So it goes moo. One more time. Let's press U to see all the keyframes. Probably too slow. Let's make these keyframes a little closer to each other. Moo. Okay. All right, so that's good. We could do a head tilt, or we can just keep it like that. I'm not feeling the zebra-ness right now. Feeling like people are getting a little zebra-itis. So let's go ahead and just keep it simple. Anyway, so we got now one zebra comp right here that has the walk. What we could do is, let's see here. We got a few options. My best guess would be to say, let's make a whole new comp. How about that? All right. When in doubt, make a new comp. Let's go composition, new composition. And let's just keep it the same settings. Actually, instead of this, let's match it with the rest. I think I had it at 1920, 1080. You can make yours at 1280, 720, which will be easier on the computer. Actually 1080, sorry. And with this new comp, let me drag in my zebra. Okay, that's this one that's just walking. And then let me also drag in the talk. All right. So I'm going to offset that talk, and let's say it walks for a little while and then it just stops right about there maybe. And I'll just trim the other one off. And it says moo. Moo. So let's say that's one way to do it. And what I could also introduce to you is something called parenting. Would you like to know a little about that? So if you look at the layers here, there's an option that says parent and link. All right. If I toggle the switches, make sure you can see them. What I could do is say, I'm going to grab this Paisley thing from the talk, and I'm going to drag it to the zebra. Now you can see in this section here where it says link, it says zebra. What that means is wherever the zebra goes on the transform properties, the talk layer is going to follow, all right? Because the zebra is the parent. So what if I were to say, this zebra walks into position here, keyframe the position, but at frame 0, let's say it starts off screen. Now we play that back, and now we're actually walking into frame moo. All right, not bad, not bad. Let's see if we can do a little more. Let's go ahead and add a solid here. I'm gonna go layer new solid. I'm gonna make a royal blue solid. I'll call this one, yeah, let's just call it royal blue solid. I'll put it behind everything. Then let's make another one, layer new solid, and let's make it a lighter version. And with this one, let me offset it a little bit higher, so it's like a background, or maybe the floor. What do you think? I think maybe the background, maybe maybe the background. All right. So now we've given this some environments already, and hey, we're on our way to making the next Dexter's Laboratory, if anyone remembers that. Okay, so another thing we could do is we can create some text here, and I'm going to type out milk. It's a little on the small side, but let's increase that. Change the font, something a little more fitting. Let's see. How about this? And let's match that color. Whoops, not that. And let's put that right about there. Now, if we leave it like that, it looks like our camera is static and the zebra's walking into frame. What if we make it look like the camera is actually moving a little bit and we fake a parallax, okay, without making 3D layers? What we could do is let's keyframe the milk type position right where everything stops. And then let's go backwards and let's just scoot that over, click, hold shift, start about right there to offset it. And now if we were to play that back, it will look like the camera is actually moving with, and then it all stops. So we're basically faking the 3D parallax here. We're keeping 2D layers, but we just understand the process that things in the foreground will move faster than things in the background, all right? So if you feel like you've got a good grasp of that knowledge, then go for something like this. All right, let's see, what else can we do? We can add some jitter. Let's see if the sound effects work though. I'm gonna bring in this layer here, Moo. And you can see it has a speaker by it. If I were to expand the waveform, you can see that right here, something actually happens. I think this is where I say moo. I'm going to trim that off. And I'm going to increase the decibels a little bit to maybe 12. I'm going to say right where zebra opens its mouth, maybe right there. I want that waveform to start right about there. Okay, so I don't know if anyone can hear it. Let me know if you can. No, no one can hear it. Story of my life. Nobody can hear me. Okay, I'm kidding. Let's go back to the hardware section real quick. And let me give this one more try to see if maybe I tried this one. Yeah. All right, one more try. No? All right, maybe next time, friends. But you can visually see where you would put in these sound effects, okay? Because they would have the waveform displayed. So from here on out, it's really just repeating stuff that we've already learned. Like if you want to add some jitter, I would add a new adjustment layer, put it on top of everything, and go to edit. Let's see, turbulent displace. And I'm going to change the amount to about 12, size to about 12. And I'm going to take the evolution options, the random seed. I'm going to hold Alt to get a expression type. I'm going to type time times 6. That means every 6 frames, you'll see the jitteriness. Let's fit that to the window. All right, so you can see a little bit of jitteries. You can increase that if you want. Let's go 2020. This might be too much. Yeah, that's probably a little too much, but I think you can see the possibilities now. This looks like the original Rugrats or the original Simpsons pilot episodes. Anyway, all right, so that's it pretty much. I made a few compositions, but really, I don't want you to be intimidated by making these pre-comps because ultimately you just throw them in other timelines and they just become regular layers. All right. So give it a try. At the very least, I want you to be able to have the walking zebra. So I want you to, let's just say, at the very least, of course, give it a loop as well. Let's say, at the very least, I want you to get up to this level right here. All right, just have the zebra walking throughout the entire timeline, looping it however you can. All right, by using those puppet pins. So good luck, and I'll see you next week. See ya. And